After the court proceedings today, a mild scene occurred outside the courtroom. Wife of the suspended Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, fainted immediately after the court proceedings. Relatives of Mrs. Ramatu, who spoke to TVC News off camera, noted that she's asthmatic and had passed out due to lack of proper ventilation in the courtroom and the foyer. She was immediately rushed into one of the offices in the court building. Meanwhile, Justice Emeka Wife had adjourned to 28th March for ruling on the bail application filed by Mr. Kyari and his co-accused. At the next adjourned date, the court will also hear issues as to the other propriety to review facts in the case of the 6th and 7th defendant. The court ordered that the defendant be remanded in the custody of the agency. Counsel to the NDLEA had drawn the attention of the court to the conduct of the third defendant, who they had a tough time coping with in their facility. Counsel to the third defendant assured the agency that the defendant will be well behaved and be of good conduct.
Misconception. You know, the whole situation is tensed. Everybody, people are fallible, they are bound to make mistakes. That's why I was quick to stand up and explain how reverend he is being in custody.
We are very confident that the court will do justice, apply the judicial discretion to ensure that the defendants get bail.
On 8 March, Mr. Kyari and 4 other police officers had pleaded not guilty to an 8-count charge of conspiracy, obstruction, and dealing in cocaine worth 7.55 kilograms and unlawfully tampering with 21.25 kilograms worth of cocaine. While co-accused Chinebu Patrick and Emeka Ezenwanye pleaded guilty to 3 out of the 8-count charge against them.
On Tuesday, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company announced it will soon grant a license to airline operators to begin importation of aviation fuel. The Group Managing Director of NNPC, Abba Kyari, spoke at the end of an investigative hearing instituted by the House of Representatives.
After last week's intervention by the House, this meeting is to review the progress that has been made and to hear from the marketers reasons behind the unabated rise in the price of Jet A1. Aviation fuel marketers tried without success to win the legislators to their side as they gave reasons for the persistent rise in price. They attributed the hike to the rise in dollar rate.
There are some things that are out of our control. If we can access the US dollar at 410, 450, the price would be different.
Until I specifically asked the other brother, the other side there, when he said they sold at the loss, I said, what was the unit cost at that time we were selling at loss?
At the moment, airlines buy the fuel at 670 naira per litre from 190 naira. Speaking on behalf of airline operators, Helen Oyema of Airpeace says high operational cost is forcing an unprecedented hike in flight tickets. He says a 1-hour flight, which has risen to about 50,000 naira, may go as high as 120,000 naira per economy seat if nothing is done to curb rising costs. He says airline operators may be forced to shut down their operations in 3 days.
I have the mandate of every airline in this country to announce to you, sir, that if they can't come down from their rooftop, we have only 3 more days to be able to fly.
But NNPC chief executive dismisses claims of scarcity of the product, just as the legislators caution the marketers against blackmailing the government.
They will also engage and agree on a premium which is differs from customer to customer depending on the volume of the product you buy and then the credit limit that you are able to do. So this is one thing that they can negotiate in 3 days.
We have found ourselves in the past that you are trying to put us back. I said we are not willing. You remember I used the word, don't blackmail this government. And we are not willing to accept blackmail.
But that same day, the United Kingdom Embassy in Nigeria announced a temporary suspension of study, work and family visa applications made under the Ukraine Family Scheme. The embassy announced in a statement that Nigerians whose passports were ready for collection would be contacted by the Visa Application Center. According to the embassy, the Ukraine Family Scheme was launched in response to the humanitarian crisis arising from the invasion of Ukraine. Well, on Wednesday, President Muhammadu Buhari wrote an official letter recognizing the chairman of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Governor Mai Mala Buni. He also ordered a status quo ante in the party's leadership change. The letter, personally signed by President Muhammadu Buhari, urged all members of the Progressive Governors Forum and their followers to desist from any behavior or utterances that will lead to disunity in the ranks of the party. The president copied the letter to the APC's acting chairman, Governor Sani Bello, the Inspector General of Police, Director General of Department of State Services, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Well, also on Wednesday, national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, met with the APC caucus in the National Assembly in Abuja. And this comes in the continuation of his consultation for the 2023 presidential ticket of the APC. And during the meeting, the former Lagos governor requested the support of the APC caucus in getting the nomination of the party for the presidential race.
Since the 10th of January, when he declared his lifelong ambition to govern Nigeria, former Lagos State Governor and national leader of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has moved from state to state to canvass for needed support. His campaign train is at the National Assembly in furtherance of his mission to get the buy-in of all stakeholders. At the Senate, the presidential hopeful effortlessly sells his candidature. He wants his hosts to take into consideration his antecedents, capacity, and experience.
My entrance into the politics came in this building. I was first a senator and shall always consider myself part of this body.
Senators, the APC national leader is back on the familiar ground.
In the affair of fighting for APC to continue to be the ruling party in Nigeria justifiably so, Your Excellency, we are with you.
The train soon moves to the House of Representatives after a closed-door meeting with the senators. Here, the APC legislators came out in their numbers to receive the Jagaban Bogu.
One man who was decided or felt in his heart that he cannot take Nigerians for granted, that he will go and talk to anybody and everybody that cares to listen.
And the APC national leader speaks on his mission to the National Assembly. Bola Ahmed Tinubu says he remains the most competent and most qualified for the exalted seat.
You are the one, with your votes and your supporters, who can make me succeed President Muhammadu Buhari.
This Kogi state lawmaker stands out. He belongs to the African Democratic Congress, but says he is here to acknowledge Bola Ahmed Tinubu's giant strides in politics.
Many people today who are moving around as governor, former governor, if not God that used him as an instrument to raise them, there will be nobody, even those current ministers.
Then came the lawmaker's verdict.
That those of you who are in support of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to run for presidency and become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2023, say aye.
On Thursday, President Buhari apologized to Nigerians over petrol scarcity and power outage experienced in the country. The president's apology was contained in a statement signed by his spokesperson, Garba Shehu, who assured that the federal government is taking steps to address this situation. The president said he regrets the inconveniences experienced by Nigerians regarding petrol shortage, adding that actions would be taken against those responsible for worsening the situation at depots. On the issue of power outages witnessed recently in various parts of the country, the president said the main challenge was identified as being one of low gas power generation as a result of sabotage of gas pipelines, leading to the shutdown of power plants coupled with routine maintenance on other gas power plants. And as part of emergency measures put in place following a meeting convened with key stakeholders to address the low power generation in the country, He said actions were agreed upon between the players in the Nigerian electricity supply industry and the NNPC. On Friday, the High Court in Federal Capital Territory vacated an order stopping the National Convention of the All Progressives Congress billed for the 26th of March was vacated. While Justice Ebelechukwu argued that the political party cannot be sued by its member, the judge relied on a recent Supreme Court judgment to conclude his ruling, and the ruling followed the twist in the leadership of the ruling party as it planned for the convention. Recently, there were tussles over the leadership of the party when Governor Sani Bello of Niger State took over as acting national chairman of the APC in the absence of the caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the party, Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State. But that has now been settled as Governor Buni said all actions taken by his Niger counterpart remain valid. He reiterated that he duly transmitted power to Governor Bello, who acted on his authority while he was away. Well, on Thursday, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo was sworn in as the governor of Anambra State. Mr. Soludo took over as the 5th governor of the state from former Governor Willie Obiano, and minutes after taking the oath of office, the governor promised to hit the ground running.
This is certainly his last appearance at a state event as the governor of Anambra State after 8 years. Then a guard of honor for the new governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo. The oath of office and oath of allegiance were administered to the new governor and his deputy. Governor Soludo went ahead to assure the people of his mission in the state seat of power.
The detailed plan rests on 5 key pillars. The first is law and order, and that is homeland peace and security. The second, economic transformation as Nigeria's next axis of industrial, tech, and leisure. And fourth is competitive and progressive social agenda to deal with education, health, youth, women, and vulnerable groups. And then governance, rule of law, and the rebirth of our value system.
He promised to effect radical change to deliver a better Anambra State that will be a model for other states to emulate.
Let the elite in the closet come out and let's debate our future and forge a consensus. The conspiracy of silence by the elite and some of the community leaders must end.
Expectations are high as stakeholders in the state are optimistic that Governor Soludo will redefine governance in the state.
Governance is about caring for the poor. It's about ensuring that people are pulled out of poverty. And look at his promises today. He consistently maintained that he's going to work for the people. He's going to secure the states.
You can see how he has started. He said he's come with a process of disruptive change. In other words, trying to change the ways of doing things in the past.
The operas of this world drove the ascendance of Eastern region into perhaps the fastest growing economy in the world. It did not come from Lagos down. It came from Enugu up.
Professor Chukwuma Soludo is the 6th democratically elected governor in the state since the creation of Anambra State in 1991. He is the 3rd elected governor of the state under the platform of the All Progressive Grand Alliance.
And finally, on Friday, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission announced former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, was still in its custody. The former governor was arrested on Thursday by operatives of the DSS at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos on his way to the United States few hours after handing over to his successor. Sources at the anti-corruption agency say the former Anambra governor was arrested for alleged misappropriation of public funds, including the 5 billion naira Sure P and 37 billion naira security votes that were withdrawn in cash. Part of the funds were also allegedly diverted to finance political activities in the state.
March the 17th will remain indelible in the mind of the ex-governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, as he did not only hand over to his successor, Professor Charles Soludo, but also a day that he was picked up at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport here in Lagos on his way out of the country to Houston in the United States. He's been governor for 8 years, and that has made it impossible for the commission to arrest him because he had immunity. Now that he has left the office, on that same day he was picked up, we gather that he's been on the watch list of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for over 4 months while in office before his tenure ended. We also know that last year in November, the commission had written to the Nigerian immigration informing them to put the ex-governor on their watch list and get across to them anytime he's trying to leave the country. So that was actually what happened on Thursday. It was a collaboration between the Nigerian Immigration Service and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Earlier, there were reports that he had been released, but we can tell you from what we gathered that he's been moved to the Commission's headquarters in Abuja.